Okay, this is where we left off, setting the factors equal to 0. So you get x minus plus 1 equals 0. Subtract the 1 from both sides, because what you got to do to one side, you got to do the other, and x equals negative 1. So those are your two answers, and as you see, neither of them are an exclusion. So you can go ahead and box in your answers, x equals negative 1, comma, x equals negative 4.5. Now on to the easy problem. Okay, so 5x plus 2 equals 6 over x. There's no quadratics that need to be factored to find the exclusions, just the only thing that's on the bottom is x, so you can just plug in 0 for x, and that's your exclusion, because if x was 0, underneath both of these would have a 0, and you can't have that. So x cannot equal 0. This is just the 1, so your LCD is going to be x, because for this x to look like this, it just needs a 1, and for this 1 to look like this x, it needs an x, so it's x times 1, which is x. Remember, we don't need this x because it's already got 1 over here. So LCD is x. Multiply the top by your LCD. Remember, by the trick that I taught you in the first video, that you don't need it on this one or this one. It'd just be 5 and 6, because if you were to multiply, it'd just cancel out right away. So 5 plus 2x equals 6. Subtract 5 from both sides to isolate x. 2x equals 1. Now solving for x, divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals 1/2. And it's not an exclusion, so you can go ahead and box that in. Now on to a harder problem. The hardest of our 4-part series. 10 over 2x plus 8 minus 7x plus 8 over x squared minus 16 equals negative 8 over 2x minus 8. So what we got to do is we got to factor this first. So it's difference of squares, so that's easy. X plus 4, x minus 4. Bring down everything else. 2x plus 8, 2x minus 8. And bring down everything on top. Okay, now we got to find our LCD. Now here we have to factor these first, or not factor, take out the GCF. This is where a lot of people mess up. So this actually isn't 2x plus 8. This is 2 times x plus 4. And same over here. 2 times x minus 4. So your LCD needs this 2 from this problem over here to make this look like this, and needs a minus 4 to make this look like this. And this needs a plus 4 to make this look like this, but it's already got a plus 4. So now we just write 2, which we get from here, x plus 4, which we get because this one needs it, and x minus 4 because this one needs it. That's your LCD. Multiply the top. Remember, by the trick that I taught you in the first video, you don't need the x plus 4 because this already has x plus 4, and you also don't need the 2 because it's got 2. So 10 times x minus 4 minus, this only needs a 2, so 2 times 7x plus 8 equals, and this only needs an x plus 4, negative 8 times x plus 4. So now, combining like terms, you get 10x minus 40 minus 14x. Remember, you gotta distribute this negative to this 8 also, so it's minus 16 equals negative 8x minus, because you gotta distribute the negative again, minus 32. Now to combine like terms, again, you got to add 32 here, or actually, my bad, you subtract 16 from negative 40, so you get 56, and then subtract this from this, so then you get negative 4x minus 56 equals negative 8x minus 32. So now we're going to put the x's on this side and the regular digits on this side. So we're going to add 8x here and add 56 here. So then we get 4x equals 24. So then divide by 4 to solve. After isolating x, get x equals 6. And as you can see, that is not an exclusion, because the exclusions would be 4, because 2 times 4 minus 8 equals 0. So do this. And then it also wouldn't be negative 4, because 2 times negative 4 plus 8 equals 0. So as you can see, it's neither 4 comma negative 4, so that's your answer, x equals 6. On to our last problem, the no solution. No solutions aren't tricky at all. It depends on what type of problem. Like if you had a no solution on there, it'd just be as difficult as that. But this is probably another medium-ish problem. Find the exclusions. X can't be 0 because that would make this 0. X couldn't be negative 1 because that would make that 0. And then x couldn't be 0 here, which we already have here, so we don't have to write it down a second time. So this factored is x times x plus 1. And then this we don't need to factor because neither of them are quadratic, so just drop them down and drop down the numerators. And then again, the LCD would be x times x plus 1, because this needs an x to look like this and this needs an x plus 1 to look like that. So write your LCD down here. Multiply the numerator by your LCD. We don't need it here, so we just drop the 3 here. We need it up here. We need an x here because we don't need the x plus 1 because it's already on the denominator. So just multiply 3 by x, just like the trick that I taught you in the first video. And then this one needs the x plus 1. So this equals negative x minus 1, because you gotta distribute the negative once you multiply. And then subtract 4 to isolate x. Subtract 4 to isolate x. Come over here, or subtract 3, my bad. Then you have 3x equals negative x minus 4, and x isn't completely isolated yet, so we got to add this x over here. And then we get 4x equals negative 4. Divide both sides by 4, and you get x equals negative 1. And this is like the exclusion that I talked about earlier. When your answer is included in the exclusions, it would make a denominator 0. So that means you can't have this as your answer. It's like an imaginary number, sorta. It's sorta to the same extent as that. It just can't happen. So you put no solution down on your paper, and you just box that in because that's your answer. Alright guys, there's 5.9. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot.